Welcome to Word of Knowledge Christian Center, where we're helping to build a kingdom, not just a church, where Apostle A.C. Morgan is our pastor. Join us on WebEx on Sundays for our morning service at 10 a.m. and discipleship training, Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. Listen to a Word of Knowledge broadcast on the radio or download the Wilkins Radio app or online at www.wilkinsradio.com/our programs, a Word of Knowledge broadcast.
Exciting news! A Word of Knowledge broadcast is now available on your favorite podcast platform: Apple, Amazon, Audible, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and YouTube. Just type in a Word of Knowledge broadcast in your podcast search bar. Listen on the go.
You are listening to a Word of Knowledge broadcast, and I am your hostess, Apostle A.C. Morgan. Today I want to talk with you about this past year. We're in December, and we tend to look back and think how good God has been to us and all the doors He's opened for us and ways He's made and how He's been such a good provider. In other words, we look back and we think over how well God fulfilled His promise to us in our lives. That promise that He would care for us, take care of us, love us, He would be there for us, and recognize just how good God has been. Now let's flip the script and look back at how good we have been to God in our work of helping to build the kingdom and our spiritual walk. This is what I want to talk about. Have you been a good servant to God this year? Were you reliable? Were you trustworthy? Were you loyal to God in your walk and your work to help build the kingdom? When the one who will give account for your soul asks you this year, where have you been? What have you been doing? What was your reply? Were you about your Father's business? Was your reply, oh, I got a new job, I brought a new house, I brought a new car, I went on vacation? What was your reply? How much of this year was spent on you in comparison to how much of this year was spent on God's work? Some of you think because you do not have a title, you're not a leader, but that's not true. Once you begin to walk the walk of salvation, you become a leader. You become one who can change the lives of other people simply because of your spiritual walk. You become a leader. Look, you become a mentor even though you don't know who you're mentoring. Others are watching you. Some know that you have turned your life over to the Lord, and they are watching you. They're looking to see changes, following your every move in your spiritual walk. And that's your opportunity to be a mentor. Did you live your spiritual life in a way that it would have helped another brother or sister? The one that will give account for your spiritual walk will not be able to lie on your behalf. Will not be able to say, oh, well, I understand. They had this going on, they had that going on, and that's why they didn't spiritually mature. They're not going to be able to lie on your behalf. Let's start with Hebrews chapter 13, verse 17. Of course, I am in the Amplified Bible. Obey your spiritual leaders and submit to them, recognizing their authority over you. For they are keeping watch over your souls and continually guiding your spiritual warfare, as those who will give an account of their stewardship of you. Let them do this with joy and not with grief and groans, for this would be of no benefit to you. I'm going to make one suggestion. Give your spiritual leaders something to work with. Let's go over to Luke chapter 2, verses 40 through 50. Verse 40 says, "And the child continued to grow and become strong in spirit, filled with wisdom, and the grace, favor, spiritual blessing of God was upon him." Now his parents went to Jerusalem every year for the Passover feast. And when he was 12 years old, they went up to Jerusalem according to the custom of the feast. And as they were returning to Nazareth, after spending the required number of days at the feast, the boy Jesus remained behind in Jerusalem. Now his parents did not know this, but supposed him to be in the caravan, and traveled a day's journey. And then they began searching anxiously for him among their relatives and acquaintances. When they did not find him, they went back to Jerusalem, looking for him everywhere. 3 days later, they found him in the court of the temple, sitting among the teachers, both listening to them and asking them questions. All who heard him were amazed by his intelligence and his understanding and his answers. When they saw him, they were overwhelmed, and his mother said to him, "Son, why have you treated us like this? Listen, your father and I have been greatly distressed and anxiously looking for you." And he answered, "Why did you have to look for me? Did you not know that I had to be in my father's house?" But they did not understand what he had said to them. Now, many of you are used to verse 49, King James Version, and it reads, "And he said to them, How is it that ye sought me? Wish ye not that I must be about my father's business?" In other words, didn't you know I have to be about my father's business? When he said to his mother, "Why did you have to look for me?" To me, it's like him saying, you didn't know me well enough to know where I would be. This is where the message is coming from. When that one that have to give account for your soul ask you, "Where have you been? What have you been doing? I miss you. I miss seeing you." Will you be able to say, "I was about my father's business"? Or will you only be saying, "I have been so busy. I had to take care of this, and then that happened, and the other happened. I just been so busy"? When Christ was missing, can I say it like this? When he was missing in action, it was because he was doing his kingdom building work. Let's go into a few of the things you could have been doing all year to not only help build the kingdom of God, but also to help strengthen your spiritual walk. Did you see God this year? Let's go to Psalm 119, verse 10. "With all my heart I have sought you, inquiring of you and longing for you. Do not let me wander from your commandments, neither through ignorance nor by willful disobedience." Did you seek God in this way this year? This is something you could have done all year long, not one time, not twice, all year long. Did you seek God? Did you ask him, "Help me to become what you've already ordained me to be"? What must I do to become what you have already ordained me to be? Have you taken time this year to reverence God, to honor him, show him respect, to let him know that you know who he is in your life? Let's read Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 29. It reads, "Oh, that they had such a heart in them that they would fear and worship me with awe-filled reverence and profound respect, and keep all my commandments always, so that it may go well with them and with their children forever." Proverbs 8, verse 13 says, "The reverent fear and worshipful awe of the Lord includes the hatred of evil, pride, and arrogance, and the evil way, and the perverted mouth I hate. In Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 29, he has told us, if only we would just honor him and worship him and respect him, and if only we would always keep his commandments. He made a promise to us. He said that if we would do those things, that it may go well with us and our children forever. Proverbs 8:13 is letting us know that we are to reverence God. We are to worship him. And in doing that, it also includes hating evil. In other words, we should be rejecting evil, not pulling it to us, not making up excuses to accept it, not locking arms with evil. We should hate evil. We should hate the one that's proud, that's arrogant, that walks in the evil way. We should be shunning those individuals, not drawing closer to them, not becoming a part of them, not speaking what they're speaking. We're supposed to be separated from them. And then he even says he hates the perverted mouth, the mouth that twists and distorts what he say, the mouth that changes his words to feel what they want fulfilled. He hates the perverted mouth. Have you shown God this year that you love him, that he is the most important thing in your life? Let's look at Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23. It says, watch over your heart with all diligence, for from it flows the springs of life. And as I was studying this, God said to me, when he says for us to watch over or guard our hearts, he's referring to us guarding the love that we have for him in our hearts. Protect it. Watch over it. Make sure it doesn't change. Don't allow the enemy to turn it from love to hate. He's saying that he's asking us or encouraging us, suggesting to us that we protect the love that we have for him in our hearts, which causes me to have to ask you, have you protected the love that you have for God this year? Or have you allowed the enemy to chip at it and chip at it and chip at it until you get to a place where your love for God has wavered? Your trust and dependence on God has wavered. Have you allowed your belief in God to take you to a place like the writer of Psalm chapter 143 verse 8 found himself? Let me hear your loving kindness in the morning, for I trust in you. Teach me the way in which I should walk, for I lift up my soul to you. Have you trusted God so much that you just allowed him to lead you and guide you the whole year? Let's look at how obedient you were to God this year. Let's look at 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 24 through 27. 24 reads, do you not know that in a race all runners run their very best to win, but only one receives the prize? Run your race in such a way that you may seize the prize and make it yours. Listen, this spiritual walk, we are all trying to win. What are we trying to win? We're trying to win our place in heaven. But it's not a one prize. It's many prizes. Everyone has opportunity to win the prize. The prize to make it into heaven. We must all run this race or walk this spiritual walk in a way as if there's only one prize. Verse 25 says, now every athlete who goes into training and competes in the games is disciplined, exercises self-control in all things. They do it to win a crown that withers, but we do it to receive an imperishable crown that cannot wither. Therefore, I do not run without a definite goal. I do not flail around like one beating the air, just shadow boxing. 27 says, but like a boxer, I strictly discipline my body and make it my slave, so that after I have preached the gospel to others, I myself will not somehow be disqualified as unfit for service. Tune in next week for the ending of this message. If I have said something that in your mind is questionable or you want to know more about, I encourage you to get with God on it. Question Him, ask Him to explain it to you. You've been listening to a Word of Knowledge broadcast, and I am your hostess, Apostle A.C. Morgan.
Dr. A.C. Morgan, Th.D., Apostle, and Arthur have a variety of books, workbooks, and study manuals available for purchase. I will, O Lord, magnify, exhort, and praise you at all times. The stages of your spiritual walk, preparing your spiritual walk in Christ Jesus. The Book of James, a study guide for the individual, small, and large study group. Discipleship Training Course 101. I hear what you're saying, but I don't understand. Discipleship Training Course, The Gospel of St. John. Spiritual First Aid Kit, a personal kit for the survivor. Proverbs, a book of wisdom. Insight from the wisest man of his time, Book 1, and coming soon Proverbs, a book of wisdom. Insight from the wisest man of his time, Book 2. You can purchase these at wordofknowledge.net/store or amazon.com or Barnes & Noble.